Hi everyone, we're here in the pigeon aviary. We've got some flighted birds and some not flighted birds, so you might see a pigeon fly by. We are going to do an art class today. We're going to be drawing here. We're going to draw a pigeon, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what pigeons eat, how they live, and what they used to do in history. So I'm glad you joined us today. Hi everybody, I'm in the pigeon enclosure now and it's humongous. I will show you a little bit more of it in a minute. Pigeons also are called rock doves. They live to be about 20 to 25 years old, and most of the pigeons we have here are between 10 and 20 years old. So I have a bonded pair here that should be coming up behind me. They're very curious about the camera. This bonded pair, they must come together because they mate for life, and they sleep together every day. They're always with each other. They've been coming in and sitting behind me in these boxes, so we'll see if we can get them to come up and visit us. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick tour of the aviary here. So right here, we obviously have all the water bowls, but we also have rocks and branches on the ground for them. We also have the feeding station over here. So here, remember, they eat seeds and lettuce and corn and peas. And then here we have these really cool nesting boxes. Hi! This pigeon's pure white. She's beautiful. Over here, we have a couple more pigeons. Then we have a room with a heater in it if it gets cold. The heater's not on right now because it is a warm day in Kanab. And then over here, we have all of our pigeon boxes where they can nest. And then you can see up there, a lot of them love to roost up high. So we have flighted pigeons, and we have some that have wing injuries or a single wing that they cannot fly. But they have plenty of stuff down here to keep them busy. And these little guys love to nest. And these two right here are a bonded pair, and they love to socialize. They love to socialize, but not with me apparently. So I hope you like the tour we did today. Let's go ahead and get back to the artwork. Hi guys, let's go ahead and start our drawing. First thing we're gonna do is draw the body. And it's difficult to draw pigeons. I've been trying to sketch pigeons while I've been sitting here, and they don't sit still very long. So the longest I was able to watch them is when they were roosting. So we're gonna do them in the roosting position. So let's go ahead and do a big smiley face. Do a big smiley face first. This is gonna be a majority of their body. They have very big bodies and very tiny little heads. So let's go ahead, and we'll also do the wing. So the wing, they tend to have really long, beautiful wings. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and remember, whenever we do the base, we're just doing our shapes. And then when we paint, we'll paint over a lot of these lines. So go ahead and get that wing in there. The wing follows the body for the most part, and then kind of straight across the back. And then for the head, we are going to do, let's see, kind of a back like this, and kind of a flatter, rounded front, almost like an egg. So it's a little skinnier on the back end and a little bigger on the front end. Because their eyes, it's interesting, their eyes fall pretty low. And they have a circle and then a smaller circle in the middle. It's kind of hard to see with my marker. And then they have a little tiny beak too. And it's pretty triangular. and not too long. So go ahead and just do that little triangle beak. And I can always post the pictures again of the close-ups of the pigeon face. The other thing that they have, which is beautiful, is they have long tails on the back. And let's go ahead and add those. So these tails come out, they kind of square off like this, and then they go back under. And some of them have beautiful patterns on their feather tails. So once you get that, I think we can just put a couple of toes down here for their feet and leave it at that. So again, we've got an oval, kind of like an egg shape with a triangle and a circle. And then we've got a big smiley face that we started with. And then we have a littler smiley face that we brought way off the edge here for their wings, because their wings are amazing. And then the tail too, they have really long tails. If you have more room, you can make your tail even longer than this. And then they have patterns on it. So when we paint, we can add a little bit of pattern on those tails there. Great. So let's go to the art studio and start painting. Look at this guy here. Look at the color on him. So you can see a lot of patterns on his wing. Yeah, and look at his head. Has all sorts of colors on it. Awesome. That's a good one to paint too. Oh. I guess this one wants to get in the picture too. Oh, look. We can compare colors. Hi, guys. Hi. This is one of the bonded pairs, and she's got beautiful markings too. She's all white with black speckles on her. Try to get a little closer. She's very curious too. Look at this guy. He's got great coloring because he's got white tips on his wings. He's strutting around too. Look at those colors. That is beautiful. Okay, this one I really wanted to get because she has pinks and light browns and a white tail. She's got a beautiful green turquoise spot. She's got a little yellowish around her eyes, but that dusty rose color, that's what she is, a dusty rose color, is absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna try to get on the side here so you can see the white on her wings. Don't wanna scare her. There, do you see how bright white those wings are? She is gorgeous. I think we might have to paint her. Okay, so here we are in the art studio. I went ahead and transferred the basic sketch we did when we were in Pigeons, and I will review it again for you guys. So we had the head that was kind of like a funny egg shape, and the body was definitely a big oval. And then the wing came up and across, and then the tail I had squared. So if you have this, let's go ahead and look at the head. So with the head, we want to bring the head, attach it to the body there. So go ahead and bring a line down like this. And then with the head, we want to come up a little bit more and bring that down to the body. So we get a little bit more of a circle effect with this one. And then triangle for the beak. And then a little bit of a triangle here on the back end. Okay.
So bring this down. And remember, we're going to have it perching, so it's almost like it's laying down here. We're going to bring that up a little bit. And when we just looked at the Dusty Rose pigeon that I really liked, the pigeon's wings actually come to a point, and its tail actually comes to a point. So let's go ahead and let's do the wing first. So let's bring the wing down and then kind of notch it right here. So you're going to bring it to a point. And we have other ones drawn here, but we're going to ignore the lines we did before. So where it comes up like this, we want to stop, lift our pencil up, and then we want to come back again and bring it to a point. Okay. Then we want to take that feather and we want to bring it up a little bit here, a little bit here, and then bigger here. And because it's a wing, we can see, go ahead and bring the front here, we can see this other wing on the other side of the parrot, or I'm sorry, on the other side of the pigeon. So let's bring that out and down like this. And that would be his other wing on the other side. And then instead of having this squared off tail, let's go ahead and bring the tail to a point right here. We're really not going to see much of the rest of the tail, so you can do it like that. And then the eye, remember how their eyes were? They were really circular with a dot in the middle. And let's go ahead and just put a couple of toes here for their feet. We're not going to have them standing up really tall. Just do that. And if you want to, you can add a branch or a nest. I'm going to go ahead and add a branch there. Okay. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. These are just for fun, practicing. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do the Dusty Rose with the turquoise bluish markings and the very white tail. So you guys can choose whichever colors you like, whichever ones you're interested in. If you wanted to do one of the gray and blue and purple birds, you can do that. If you're going to do the Dusty Rose like I am, go ahead and grab a pink or a red. Either one will work. A pink or a red. And we want to put it just on a little palette or a paper plate. Sometimes I'll even use something like this, just a piece of paper that's kind of glossy. And I think I'm going to do, I happen to have a pink here. So I'm going to do a little pink. I always put a little white, so put a little bit of white on your palette. And I'm going to go ahead and put a touch of red. So if you guys just have red, you can do red and white together to make a dusty pink or a dusty rose. And then we want to pick, since it's going to be the main body, you want to pick a medium-sized brush if you have one. Maybe something about that big, about the size of my pinky. And then you want to mix. So take a little bit of white and just a touch of pink, or if you have a little red, a touch of pink and red. And then you just keep adding pink and red until you get a color you want. I think that one looks pretty good. Maybe a touch more red. Okay, let's go ahead and start on the pigeon. So let's go ahead and start with the face first. And the wings are going to be more of a brown, so we're not going to do the wings. We're just going to do the underbelly, the neck, and the face. And if I go too fast for you, you're always welcome. If you're able to pause it, you can always pause it. Good. And then go ahead and I like to take just the color that I didn't mix with white and do the darker areas, usually around, help shape the face and the neck. And then usually right under the wings, it's going to be a little bit darker. So I'll take a little bit of the pink, straight pink, not mixing it at all with the other colors. Good. The next color I'm going to grab is the brown. Brown here. And put a little bit of that on my palette, and I already have white and red, and I'm actually not going to clean off my brush because the pigeon's wings have a little bit of all the different colors in it, but it's going to be primarily brown. And I'm going to do kind of a feathery brush stroke, and we can come back on top of it. And add another layer once this layer dries. And then I'm going to make the back wing a little bit darker because it's behind, so it would be darker, it would be shadowed. And the ones here in the forefront will be a little bit lighter. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to let that dry. You can go ahead and clean out your brush. Good, clean out that brush. And then we're going to need a smaller one. At least I am. If you have a really big canvas, you may not need that small of a brush, but I'm going to need a small one for the eye and the beak. So I'm going to take a little bit of yellow, but I'm going to mix the yellow. I have a really bright yellow. I'm going to mix this yellow with some white because I don't want it to be too bright. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and just go right over the eye. And I don't worry about the dot in the middle because we'll add that at the end. Get a little more yellow paint if you need it. And I'm going to go ahead and put yellow on the beak, although I think the beak was a little more like tan, but we'll put a little bit of yellow on that. Good, and while we're waiting on that to dry, let's go ahead and do the white tail. And you can pick a bigger brush or you can use your little brush. I'm just going to get a big scoop of white paint. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on really thick here. And I'm even going over the wing a little bit, but that's okay because when that dries, I'm going to go over a little bit more. Okay, so there's the tail. And I'm not worried about this area here because I'm going to go back over the brown wings. So a good thing to do while we're waiting for this to dry is to do a little bit of the background. So I'm going to go ahead and take the brown and I'm going to go ahead and highlight the area. I'm going to go right over the feet and add the feet at the end. Good. And if you want to have it come up a little bit, you can do that. And then I'm going to pick a blue for the background. You could even use the same blue or turquoise that we're going to use to highlight the neck. That's up to you. So let's find a good background color. And background colors don't always have to be blue. They can be yellow, orange, green, depending on the time of day. The sky has different colors, or if you want it to be against a green background, maybe it's in a forest, you could do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of turquoise and a little bit of ocean breeze, which kind of has a green tint to it. It's kind of a turquoise with a green color. Those two right there. And what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of the blue and a little bit of the greenish blue on my brush. And I'll start going really carefully up and around the tail and the body of the bird. And the areas that are just too tiny, I'm just going to wait, and I'm going to use my smaller brush for these areas. But right now I'll just do all the areas I can do with my big brush. And then when my brush dries out, I'll go back and get a little bit of blue and a little bit of green. And there's different ways. A lot of times when I'm teaching an art class where we have more time, we'll do the background first and then wait for it to dry. And then we will draw the animal on top of it. But because of how we do our class where we just sketch it right there with the animals, it's easier to do it this way. Okay. It really helps if you have a big brush for doing the background. Otherwise, you're really painting a lot of tiny little lines. And it takes a long time. And it doesn't look as smooth. So bring this down. A little bit under the chin and the beak. Remember, if you ever make a mistake, if you ever get a color on, like if I were to accidentally go right over the beak, I would just put white paint down once it dries. Put some white paint, let that dry, and then go ahead and do the yellow. Okay, so under the branch here. And the background really makes the white tail stick out. It makes it look a lot better, and I will show that to you as soon as I finish the background here. Okay. Let's go ahead and use a little tiny brush like this to get into these little areas right here, there, and here. Good. And we also want to add this little bluish, turquoise-ish color right here on the neck, because she had a shimmery area right here on the neck. Good. While you're finishing up your background, make sure you take a quick break and do the shimmery part on the neck. And then let's get some more brown, maybe a little pink with the brown. and do the wings. Put another coat on the wings. Here we go. We can also bring in a little white if we want to give it some more texture in this back wing. And then the tail here, it looks a little funny, so I think we will add some more white to it. In fact, I'm going to use my little brush. Need a little more white paint. Let's go ahead and straighten this guy out a little bit. Let's bring it this way so it looks a little bit bigger. Good. Good. And actually we can bring this into like it's a split feather tail there. Good. And then if you want, you can, let's bring this feather, this wing out just a little bit more. Excellent. And then the eye, you just want to put one dot right here in the middle because they have really, really round eyes. And if you want to add another layer of paint or a little bit on this branch, you can do that. Good, and then you can add a little bit more paint to the beak. Good, you can put a little line in there if you want, but you don't have to. And the other thing I would definitely do is take a tiny little bit of white and just put a tiny little dot in his eye. And that makes a big difference. Well, thank you guys for joining us today to do our little Dusty Rose pigeon. I hope you enjoyed the class, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.